Welcome to Books and Boulders, the podcast where we take a break from climbing, sit back, and dive into the world of adventure books.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Books and Boulders, your podcast for adventures on the page and off. I'm Melanie,
And I'm Tiffany.
and we're back at you with another one.
And another one.
We've been reading Wild by Cheryl Strayed. Cheryl.
Sure.
I feel the need to say it like my uncle would.
Mm-hmm.
Cheryl. We're back at you again with another book club for Wild by Cheryl Strayed. We are on part three, Range of Light. So the last section that we talked about was part two, Tracks, and that was all about her kind of like, I guess, getting onto the trail and the early days of the trail. And now we are in it. We're in the sauce. We're in the
Yeah.
trenches.
Yeah. No going back. Or
Uh,
is she?
or is she? It remains to be seen.
Yeah.
But so far, we're still in the trail, and we will be diving into that today. But before we do that, a quick check-in. How you doing?
Um, I'm cool. I'm cool. I don't have any like major life changes or
Hmm.
any activities since the last time we met.
Yeah.
I think I climbed once in a gym, which was interesting. Um, I've actually been like going back and rewatching footage from Europe.
Ooh,
So that's been nice,
all
just kind of
nostalgia.
like reflecting on back in the days when I was happy and not in this country. But yeah, now I'm just doing like some crazy downsizing. I'm really trying to get back to Europe, so I'm trying to figure out how to like rent out my house and travel the world. And I know it sounds super over the top, but I'm like, I'm ready to go. So
Hmm.
that's pretty much where I'm at right now.
Yeah, I feel that. Yeah, getting your affairs in order, and I'm not mad at it. I'm really not. Like, I understand. I would be curious to kind of like hear more about what your thinking is there, but I am cheering for you. I'm rooting for you. Uh, and if you got room in your suitcase.
Yo, I brought the world's largest suitcase to Europe last time, and I will
Oh,
never. I was for real looking like Cheryl in
sure.
Paris. Like, look, one thing you don't do is bring the biggest suitcase in the universe.
Yeah.
Everything was a walk up. It was so bad. So
Oh,
I'm
wow.
not doing that again.
Yeah, she had a whole
But if you're
car on
gonna
her
climb
back.
in it, then I'll consider it because you're gonna get up out of it and you can carry it yourself. But
Okay, we'll figure it out. We'll noodle on it and we'll figure it out.
yeah.
But yeah, cool. Well, I'm glad to hear that you're I don't know. I'm glad to hear that you're like, doing as well as you can be and yeah, figuring out what's next. Yeah. Life is weird. The world is weird.
I
Tiffany.
can just read how you're doing on your face. Sorry for the people who aren't watching.
I'm okay. I'm tired for some reason. I've been really, really like physically fatigued, but I'm mentally, I think, okay. Yeah. Life is lifing, work is working, work is working me. But yeah, I mean, other than that, I think I'm okay. I also haven't been climbing a whole lot. I've climbed probably twice, maybe three times since we've talked. Um, I went to the dentist like not that long ago. Shout out to me honestly because I've been avoiding the dentist for so long. I have good dental hygiene. I just want to say that. But but like I don't know. Every time I've gone to the dentist, I've had a cavity and they have these really big menacing needles and they're scary. But I was like, you know what? It's time for me to go and just make sure. I was worried that I had cavities. Um So I finally went, and it turns out that I didn't have where I thought were cavities were not cavities. I was just brushing too hard with a
Oh,
toothbrush, and it was like affecting my gums, like causing my gums to recede in specific areas. And
yeah.
I guess that exposes like a part of your tooth where the nerves are a lot more sensitive. So that was what was kind of like causing the pain. I don't think there's anything that can really be done about that, but I can like the recession that has already happened, but I can like mitigate it by like using a better toothbrush. So I got a little baby toothbrush
Oh.
for my sensitive teeth. And yeah, okay, so I did not have any new cavities. Sorry for everyone who's like, this is my dental.
Your
We're
dental
in it now.
update.
Yeah.
But you might be
But
inspiring someone to go to the dentist. So,
I hope so. I did not have any new cavities, which was nice. And but I did have like an existing cavity that I guess like needed to be refilled.
mhm.
So yeah, she did that. But then when she kind of like like I don't know how exactly it works, but I guess they do the filling and then they have to kind of like sand it off and like try to recreate the ridges in your teeth so that you
Yeah.
can like bite normally. And I think the way she did it, it's like a little too long. Like I don't think she got it quite right. So my bite has been off and it's been a little
Mm.
bit uncomfortable to eat for the past couple of days. So yeah, hopefully I can get that checked out soon. But yeah, that's it. That's so I've just been in discomfort a little bit, slight minor oral discomfort. But other than that, I have been good.
Well, September is nearing, and I
Hmm.
am curious because you mentioned your exam or your course and whether you were going to do that, not going to do that. Did you make any headway on? I don't know if we
Uh,
talked about this on or off camera, but oh well. I'm gonna call you out because I'm always wanting to see more Black women guides because
yeah.
there's like three, and so I just am curious. The people want
Yeah.
to know.
Um, yeah, it's not happening this year.
Oh,
I know. I'm sorry.
you put
Yeah.
it in Vegas with me.
Okay,
It's
sure.
fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's
I
fine.
can go to Vegas. Wait, what? You said I could go to Vegas with you?
Remember,
No, I
I'm
can't.
going to Vegas the weekend before or after.
Oh, I mean, I can still go to Vegas. I
We'll
already
talk
have the
up. Well,
time
we will
off.
talk. We'll talk offline. But okay, well, that's fine. That's good.
Oh my God,
I
Tiffany.
didn't feel good about it anyway. That's why I wanted to check in because
Yeah.
I could tell. Here's the thing. You know how I feel about trad anyway. And so I don't think if you're even remotely not feeling ready, that you should put yourself in that position. Like, climbing is great, climbing is amazing, but there's no reason to force it. Like, it's going to be there. You have time,
Yeah.
as much time as the world will give us, but like, there's no reason to rush things. It's got to feel right, especially with something like that. So,
Yeah, thank you for saying that. I agree. I don't know. I've just been having, and I feel like a lot of climbers go through this, but like, just I don't know. There's like I should journal about this, but I've just been having like I don't know, just like a what have I been having? I've just been having like a there's been a distance in my relationship to climbing. Like just I don't know why. I've never like I've only been climbing for 5 years, but in the 5 years up until this point, I've never felt so just like
detached.
yeah, just totally apathetic
Yeah.
to the idea of it. I don't know why exactly. I think I can probably like point to a number of factors, but I don't think there's that have influenced that feeling, but I don't think there's one specific thing. And I'm sure like, I'll get back to it. Like I have another year before like there's like this sunset period where like you take the course and then you have 2 years to take the assessment before the course basically expires and you have to retake it. So yeah, I have another year and my plan is to try to like get it in the next year. But yeah, I had this feeling of like I really wanted to get my instructor certification because I wanted to teach, but I don't see it being a career of mine, but I really wanted to like, just like volunteer or maybe as a part-time thing, like just teach Black people to climb. But I'm like in New Mexico and I'm like, I don't even have an audience for the thing that I like intended to use it for.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. I'm just reevaluating my relationship with climbing and my relationship with my goals in climbing and yeah,
Yeah,
we
same. So, yeah, maybe we'll have a weird random live episode just talking about climbing transitions, climbing feels because
yeah.
I'm not I think I know my relationship to climbing and so I'm kind
Hmm.
of more excited that I think I had that awakening. So,
Hmm.
I want to get into the book, but I will talk more about kind of where I am trying to position myself in the space in the
Yeah.
future. But
Yeah,
not to,
I
but not today. Not today, y'all.
okay. Yeah. This is just what life has allowed me to do right now. And I am ready to get into this book.
Let's
Uh,
go.
cool. I don't know. This section, like in general, I didn't really feel like that much happened. Like a lot, like
Yeah, for
stuff
for four
happened.
chapters though, right? Four
Well, it was three
chapters.
chapters.
Oh, it
The
was?
last, uh-huh. Yeah, it was
Oh,
eight,
you're
nine, and
right. The
10.
last one was four. This one
Uh-huh.
was three. You're right. You're right.
Yeah. But yeah, but I don't know. It was like stuff she talked about a lot, but I don't feel like actually a lot did
Maybe it was.
happen. Yeah.
I think it just nothing interesting really happened. And I think the book started so in your face with
Yeah.
stuff. It was like, oh, mom died. Oh, I'm a heroin addict, and then it was
Yeah.
like part three, I'm hiking.
Right. And
Like,
we're just hiking.
yeah,
That's
it was
kind of
like
all.
three chapters of just hiking and
Yeah.
nothing really pivotal happened. And then if we go back to the last episode and we thought it would be fun to make predictions, I'm a little sad because what I thought or was alluding to in some of these predictions did not happen. And
Yeah.
so it's like I
But they
get
did
it.
not happen.
They did not happen per se,
Yeah.
but I think the problem is we made predictions that really wasn't about the author.
Interesting.
And
Yeah.
so
We got
when you
into the
make,
drama, the mess of
yeah,
it.
it's like when you make predictions that isn't about the actual storyteller, that's on you when it doesn't happen. Or it could have happened, but we don't know because that person's story is not this book. So
Yeah.
I don't know. But I agree. I know what you're trying to say. What I would say is it was kind of forgettable. And I get that,
Yeah.
and I get that we read these, but I just read chapter 10.
Hmm.
And even now, if I didn't take notes, I couldn't tell you what happened.
Yeah.
So I understand.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I'm glad I'm not totally alone in that. Not to say that it was boring, but it just wasn't as like dramatic and intense as the last
Yeah.
few sections. But yeah, okay, let's just kind of dive into it then. So
Let's
yeah,
go.
in chapter eight, corvidology. Corvidology.
Oh, impressive. I was like, Corvid, I don't know. That was a lot for me. And I like words.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
But so she leaves Kennedy Meadows. If we remember, she was in Kennedy Meadows with Doug,
Doug and
Greg.
Tom.
Yeah, it was the whole squad. It was Greg, Matt,
Hmm.
Albert, and then Matt and Albert had got sick, so they had to bail. Um, but she's in Kennedy Meadows. Greg decides he's going to stay back for a day, and so she continues on with Doug and Tom. And they're about to hike into the Sierra Nevada. So this is kind of where, yeah, the snow really starts to become a problem. This is where they were like, should we bypass this section? Should we try to go through it? She she decides that she's gonna like bypass it. And she's
Yep.
like, no, I'm not gonna do this. And she decides that she's gonna, I guess the way she had mapped out her trail, she was gonna like maybe hike a part of Oregon, but not the entire thing. And now, in order to kind of like compensate for the distance that she's gonna miss by bypassing the Sierra Nevadas, she decides that she's gonna hike the length of Oregon.
Yeah.
Um,
And wasn't this decision made after she had that weird icy section where she was like, damn, where is my ice axe type of moment? Like she had
yeah,
to go over this weird icy part, and in her mind, she's like, this is only gonna get worse.
yeah,
I didn't even feel good about this.
right.
I'm good.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like she,
Which, oh, the irony. Miss
yeah,
Overpacker gets
I
rid of the one
know.
thing
Yeah, I
kind
know,
of
right? Yeah,
important.
yeah. I know. It was like that. It seemed too early when she finally did, when she did decide to let her ice axe go. But yeah, by that point, she doesn't have it. And she like gets through one little section and she kind of makes it through. And then she's like, oh my gosh, it's definitely gonna get worse.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, she decides to bypass it. Doug and Tom do decide to go through, and they are like, "Yeah, you can just go with us. We got you." But you know, she made the decision to do this trail alone and to hike as much of it alone as she could, and so that's what she is gonna do. Um,
What did you think about that? I need to know. Like, what were your thoughts knowing kind of how she moved before this whole hike and everything that was going on,
hmm,
and even kind of some of the thoughts in the back of her mind? Like, what were you thinking when she said that to them? Because this does bring up our whole prediction situation and
yeah.
kind of where our predictions die is her making this decision. But I'm just curious if this hit anything hit with you when she was like, "No, I'm out here to do this alone. I'm gonna do it alone."
Um, I mean, I kind of felt where she was coming from. Like I personally think from what has been described, especially without like the proper gear, she would be making a mistake to try to continue on through that section. Like we read Lynn Hill's book. We know what happened to Chuck. Like I don't
Yeah,
think that she should have tried to push through that. And I also understood like I mean, as we'll see later in the book, she doesn't end up doing it all alone. Like there are definitely like sections that
yeah.
she hikes with other people. But I can also understand like no offense, not wanting to be stuck with these dudes for like the next like 20 like 2 or 3 days or however long it's gonna take them to get there, you know? I don't know.
I guess
So
I just thought this is this romance lover girl in me, but I guess I just thought her and Doug were doing
gonna
having
become
some
a
sort of
thing.
connection. And she was gonna
Yeah.
be that cliche girl of like, oh, Doug, I'm gonna follow you everywhere.
Yeah.
And so I was kind of surprised,
Mm.
especially because she is dealing with addiction. And
Yeah.
sometimes people transfer that addiction to other things. So
Right.
I thought she was going to use that relationship or that attraction as kind of a form of Medicaid. I don't know.
Yeah.
Especially with the whole mom, I don't know. For some reason, I thought it was going to go somewhere else that it didn't. So I was surprised. I'll be honest. I was
Interesting.
surprised.
Wow, yeah. I don't know though. I mean, yes, she was struggling with addiction. And I do think that she's like gotten trapped in like different vices and things like that. But I feel like she has like proven or demonstrated herself to be like a pretty strong-willed person. Like she like definitely like slips and blunders and I think she can like yeah, be consumed by her vices. But I also get the sense that like once she like sets her mind up to do something or not do something or whatever that she like is pretty has pretty strong conviction and like willpower. um so yeah, I don't know, I based on like just the character that she has shown, like it doesn't totally surprise me that she was like, I'm not, I want to do this by myself, you know, whatever. But yeah, that's interesting. I don't know, I'm kind of glad though, I'm proud of her, proud of you, sis.
I'm not mad at it. I guess I
Yeah,
was just
yeah,
surprised.
yeah.
So what was your prediction from last time? The last episode. Do you remember what you predicted? Because I think your
That,
prediction, I would honestly say you get a point
yeah,
over me and my prediction because yours is kind of closer to being true than mine. Only because she mentions the same thing that you mentioned.
was mine the that he took the condoms?
Mm-hmm.
That was mine. That he
Yes.
took the condoms.
That you thought that Doug took the
Right.
condoms.
Yeah.
And she says in the book that she suspects that one of the guys took the condoms.
Yeah. But we don't know. We still don't know.
We don't know, but the fact that
Yeah.
she suspected it and you suspected it
You think
is
that
way
that's
more
likely?
likely and true than
I wonder if we'll
my,
find out.
yeah. I mean, I think mine could have been true too, but I just feel like because yours got co-signed by Cheryl, you can win
Cheryl.
that point.
Right.
Whereas
Okay. But we
my,
still don't know yet. We
what
might find
you
out.
think we might find out?
I don't know. It seems
Okay.
unlikely, but
I mean, yeah. Okay. Okay.
I
We'll
don't
put it,
know. I don't
we
know.
will see, and I'll get a
Yeah.
back end point. But my prediction was that Tom was gonna bail out because Tom just seemed a little soft to me. He just gave
Yeah.
up. I mean, they both were soft, but I thought Doug would ride it out just to like be macho and prove a point to her.
Right. Hmm.
Whereas Tom had no real stake in the game, and they come from money, so it's like I don't need to be doing this. I'm going. And
Yeah.
to be honest, I mean, I hope we do find out. I hope nothing bad happened. I'm gonna say that up front because
Yeah.
it doesn't seem like two people who are inexperienced should have kept going.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I'm gonna leave it at that because I don't want to give up as we continue on.
Yeah.
But yeah, it looks like the her reroute is going to what Trail Pass,
Right.
and they said it was 40 miles between Kennedy Meadows and Trail Pass from a 6,100 to an 11,000 feet in elevation change,
Yeah.
which is, whew, I don't know
Yeah.
if anybody's done any elevation climbing. It's not a joke.
Yeah. Yeah. That is a lot. So yeah, I think she made the right decision for a variety of reasons. Like, yeah, I think she was right. She did a good thing and not, getting swept up in like this boy and kind of like falling for him and it's like, okay, this is your journey, like go off, So
Yeah.
yeah. So yeah. Um, but I appreciate what you said about Doug and Tom. I have concerns, and I do hope that we find out what happens to them. Like I hope that that's just not just like a cliffhanger, and we never hear from or about them. But yeah, I don't think they should have kept going. I think they should have probably tried to bypass too. But so let's see. So she She ends up continuing on. She splits with Doug and Tom again. They she ends up bypassing. They end up continuing on. After she splits with Doug and Tom, she ends up catching up with Greg, and they decide that they're going to make the journey together to Sierra City, which would have bypassed apparently the worst parts of the snow.
Yeah.
Um, and they have a little bit of a journey to get there. They have to take two buses and then hitchhike to get there. And when she starts her journey, she has about $45 to get to Sierra City and make it through the next week of her journey before she gets to her next resupply box, where she only has another $20 waiting for her. So she is really grazing
Strug
by.
bug.
Yeah.
Yes.
Um, but yeah, while she's at one of the truck stops, she meets a woman who notices the feather in her backpack that Doug gave to her. And that's where the title Corvidology comes from. Because the lady says, "Oh, your feather, like it must be from a raven or a crow." And apparently those are birds in the corvid family. And she talks about how her ex studied corvidology. She seemed like a very woo-woo kind of like lady.
Hmm.
She asked if you were going to the rainbow gathering, like um, and yeah, she ends up just kind of like passing on some like kind of cryptic spiritual message to her, basically saying like, oh, it's a symbol of the void and the void is a good thing. It's where like things are born. And so I think in maybe in Cheryl, that's like sparking this like idea of like rebirth and like
Yeah.
kind of like the rebirth that she's experiencing like on this trail. That's kind of like the connection that I'm sort of making, but that is where that title came from. Um,
And see, I'm going back to Doug. It felt like another weird breadcrumb of
ooh,
like, because Doug is the one who gave it to her.
he is.
And we don't know what happens to Doug. They split up and they go their
Yeah.
separate ways. And it kind of had this weird dark omen feel to
Yeah.
me. I'll be honest
Yeah.
with you. That's why it was, I don't know. I guess I kept thinking like it's because I know she's gonna ask about someone else soon,
Hmm.
but I was just curious, like, would she find out if something bad happened to him? And like
Yeah.
her having that feather was like a good luck charm, but also this memory of him. I don't know.
I mean, she literally said when they split up, like he was like, "Oh, you still have your feather," and she's like, "Yeah, something to remember you by," and they like all
Right,
laughed.
right. See, that's how I'm connect.
Yeah.
This is how I'm connecting. There's something there.
Yeah.
There's something where this is gonna be a thing. I need this to be a thing. I don't know why, but I need this to be part of the story. I need love
Yeah. Okay.
to
I mean, I
happen.
certainly hope that's what it is. I hope we see Doug again. That's all I'm gonna say. I'm nervous. All I could think about when Doug and Top were like, "We're gonna keep going," was Lynn Hill when Chuck was like, "I'm gonna hike this mountain," and
Yeah.
Chuck didn't. All right.
And Chuck was way more experienced than Doug and Tom
Yeah, yeah.
together.
So I'm concerned, but we will see. I do think we're gonna find out what happens to them. Like somebody will probably know. Like it seems like there is still this like network,
Community, yeah.
Yeah. And so,
Okay.
somebody I think will know and be able to let them know, but I do hope that they have some sort of reunion. Um, but so yeah, but I did kind of get that cryptic. Like I feel like the lady was like corvidology, the void. Like when she said the void, and like they were in this like isolated like bathroom at a truck stop, and I don't
Yeah.
know. Like I got slightly creepy vibes too. But then the lady tried to like make it nice by saying like it's a good thing. It's where things are reborn or something like that. So I don't know. It was like a weird mix of like it's kind of feels dark, but there is like, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what any of that meant, but I felt like we were supposed to take something from that. But maybe we will circle back to that too, like you said. Um, but anyway, so she and Greg get a room in a motel. They have dinner, and by the end
Separate
of
rooms, FYI.
yes, true, yes. Thank you for that clarification. They
Even
get
though she's
rooms.
broke as a joke.
I know.
They got
I was like, I feel like you should ask Greg if you could like sleep on the floor or something.
yeah,
Like, you save your money, girl. Because by the end of dinner and like getting a drink and a
a
treat or
bath.
whatever, yeah, she ends up taking a bath. She has to pay for the room and all of that. By the end of the night, she has 65 cents left to get. Stop laughing
It's
at
like the equivalent of 2 cents now.
her. Right.
I
Yeah. You
don't know
can't.
what she buy for 65. Well, we do know what she can buy for 65 cents. Well,
Yeah.
no, she couldn't even get coffee.
Yeah. I think that, yeah. I don't remember how much they said the coffee was, but I think that was the most that she was going to be able to get. Um, but she has 65 cents left to get her through the next week. Um, and yeah, just kind of where the chapter ends, but like she spends a lot of time. She ends up taking her bath and she recalls kind of like she does this thing in her writing where she like has these flashbacks and so they're kind of like embedded in the story and so she kind of has a flashback to like her childhood, her biological father and the abuse that he put her mother through and she and her siblings and that all seemed like a very dark time, but her mom finally got out of it and yeah, she talks about just how she's kind of been on the trail for only 3 weeks. And it feels like so much about her has changed. But yeah, that's kind of where we end off. So corvidology, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was just, oof, her dad. I'm just gonna leave it at that.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, Very manipulative, very abusive. But I mean, her mom, I mean, they got through it. I don't know. She had a wild life. Like,
Yeah.
even, I mean, like some of the stuff that comes up in like the next two chapters and the last chapter of this section in particular, I was like, what? This is crazy. People like, I mean, yeah, I don't know. She just had a wild life. A lot happened. Um, and it was really sad to hear about the ways that her father kind of abused her. But yeah, I mean, I think that she is like doing what she came out here to do. And I think that like the changes that she was hoping to make are already starting to kind of come to fruition. And I don't know, maybe that's a good question. Like I'm curious like if up until this point in her journey you have noticed any changes in her just based on the way that she's recalling her story, like are there ways signs of growth that you feel like you've seen in her?
I mean, yes, for sure, because A, she does kind of like, I think it was this chapter, because she was like, maybe Greg took the condoms. And she started thinking about,
Oh
hmm,
yeah.
he's not my type, but you know.
Yeah.
And so old Cheryl
Hmm.
could have easily went a knock, 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 knock.
Yeah.
What it do?
Yeah.
And she didn't. So, I mean, I think a lot of this is how her coping with being alone, like her coping with
Hmm.
loss. And you can't replace that with drugs. You can't replace that with a warm body.
Yeah.
And so she's slowly starting to be more and more independent and not in need of that to get her fix, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Yeah, she didn't go with Doug and Tom like she could have. I feel like that's another like I do feel like kind of to your point, like men have been a huge vice for her.
mhm.
And sex has been like that kind of like vice and that escape and that drug to numb her. And yeah, I mean, yeah, there are two times that we can think of where she like could have made a choice to like follow this man or like do something that might have given her like temporary comfort and decided to, yeah, I don't know. I feel like she's like, I'm trying to think of the word that I'm trying to think of, but it's like she's like hardening, but not in like a
Yeah.
bad way, like not in like a mean way. I think, like you said, like just like really establishing that independence and that trust in herself.
And didn't her therapist even call out, like, so where do you think this stemmed from? You know, let's talk about your father. And it's like,
Yeah.
oh, yeah, this is probably
Yeah.
because
You
of my
got
dad.
daddy
But
issues. Yeah.
I got full on daddy issues. Like, I
Yeah.
mean, who don't? Who don't? Like, it is
Yeah.
what it is.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I am surprised with how so far she's handled men in
Yeah.
this,
Yeah.
considering those issues.
Yeah. For sure. Yeah. Proud of you, Cheryl. You go, girl. Cool. Well, chapter 9. Hmm.
Staying found.
Yes, yes, queen. Okay, chapter 9, staying found. So the next day, she and Greg head out from their motel room in Sierra City to continue their trail plans. She's gonna hike the entirety of Oregon. Greg's gonna continue on with her journey or with his journey. Um, Even though she has likely bypassed the worst part of the trail, she's still encountering a lot of snow. And then there's like these moments where she feels like really confident in her journey and where she's going and her sense of direction, and moments where, you know, I guess because of just being out in the wilderness, but also the added snow on top of that, like she is just, it's becoming harder for her to be certain what part of the trail she's on. And I feel like she starts to get worried that she's becoming lost, but she isn't. She's doing great. Every time she thinks she's lost, she looks up and there's an indicator that she's on the PCT. Um,
I
so
thought
she,
she was all the way lost. I was like, girl, turn around. Stop what you're doing now. Like
yeah,
You couldn't have told me she was
Yeah.
not completely going in the wrong direction. Sorry. I wanted to have faith, but I didn't.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I was like, I think she's gonna be okay. But I mean she does end up backtracking, which totally sucks. Like,
Mhm.
so she, you know, they not, yeah, this was one of the chapters where I was like, there wasn't really a ton that happened
No.
here.
Other than
But
her attempting to follow Greg, there was
yeah,
like this cat and mouse, like, where's Greg? Is he
she
trying
did,
to,
yeah. Yeah.
which
Yeah. Sorry,
which
go.
was giving me anxiety. I'm not gonna lie.
Mm.
I was like, and the thing is that she's done nothing in this book to make me care about Greg. Like, no offense. There's like he's sweet, and I guess was he the one who showed her how to use the axe or something? Like
I
he
think so. And he like was the one when she was about to get off the trail, he
didn't
like
give up.
encouraged. Yeah, he was like, "You got this." And she was like, "Okay."
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
even though like I don't feel like I know Greg per se.
Yeah.
I think if they
Yeah.
had hooked up, I would have like, oh, Greg. But I just the whole time I'm just like, oh my God, let Greg be okay. I just need people to not be dying in this book,
Yeah.
please. Even though I know,
Oh, you were worried that Greg was gonna be dead. Oh my
well,
God.
because she's like, I don't see any footsteps.
Oh, true.
And
She
I'm
did
like,
say
how
that.
you walking through snow, Greg? Are you teleporting? Like, how is Greg going through? Like, I mean,
Oh.
I know that we know that she clearly went the wrong way at some point, but
Right.
there just seemed to be points where she should have been seeing footsteps.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, where's Greg? Did
Right.
Greg go home? Did like I just couldn't stop thinking about it. So,
Yeah. Well,
oh
we
my
will
goodness.
find out what
I
happened to
know, yes.
Greg.
Yes. I know we'll get to Greg, but I'm saying at this point, I
Yeah.
was like,
Oh my God, Greg, please.
that's all I was thinking about was every time I turn the page, like, oh, please, please let Greg be okay.
Oh, yeah. Um,
I don't know.
yeah, yeah. Well,
Oh
so
yeah. He does
what?
get lost.
She did?
Sorry.
She
Go
got lost
ahead.
for real?
Yeah, well, I'm just getting I just made a note that
Oh,
about her being lost in a page that I wanted to
hmm.
read.
Interesting. Yeah, well, so I mean, yeah, the main thing that kind of happens towards the end of this is like I think she kind of like has this like awakening, this moment of like, yeah, like nature can cleanse me and like, it's kind of like a continuation of the theme that we've been experiencing, but she has this feeling of like, she kind of like thinks back to her time trying heroin and she's like that was like her partner Paul or her ex Paul compared it
Hmm.
to like playing Russian roulette and like never really knowing I guess when the gun is in the or when the bullet is like in the chamber. And she's like, yeah, hiking on this trail I'm also kind of like rolling the dice a little bit, but like in this experience, like she feels like, it's just, I think she feels like a certain sense of conviction that like even if she is lost, like she is supposed to be out here and like this journey is kind of like sort of washing her with every step of like the darkness that she came from. And then I would say like the biggest thing that really kind of happened is that um yeah, she gets off the trail and I can't remember exactly why she got off the trail, but she does end up veering off the trail. I don't know if it's because of the time of day or what, but at a certain point, she kind of realizes that she doesn't have enough food to get her through where, the distance that she needs to go to get to her next resupply box. She also is like I think being kind of feeling kind of discouraged by the amount of snow that she's encountering. And she's trying to figure out how she can like I think get to a lower elevation so that maybe she can like yeah, by get to a lower elevation where it's not as snowy and then rejoin the trail once she's past where the snow ends. Um and I don't know if it's at this point that she starts to kind of like I know at one point she hiked west for a little while, hiked down, and then yeah, was trying to like figure out how she could rejoin the trail. But anyways, like she ends up getting off the trail, because she realizes that she doesn't have enough food. So she hitchhikes and gets a ride to this lodge, and she loses like at least a day, maybe a couple of days of progress, which sucks.
Yeah.
But it's kind of what she has to do in order to keep going. And that is basically where the chapter ends. I don't know if you had any final thoughts on that one, but
Yeah, I mean, I think you kind of hit you mentioned her kind of mindset and
hmm
thinking about Paul. I think there was like two big things in this chapter that stood out to me, and I really liked when she was talking about this experience and her addiction, and she just says, like, uncertain as I was, as I pushed forward, I felt right in my pushing, as if the effort itself meant something. That
hmm
perhaps being amidst the undesecrated beauty of the wilderness meant that I too could be undesecrated,
hmm
regardless of what I'd lost or what had been taken from me, regardless of the regrettable things I'd done to others or myself, or the regrettable things that had been done to me. Of all the things I'd been skeptical about, I didn't feel skeptical about this. The wilderness had a clarity that included me.
yeah.
Um, so, we are seeing this transformation evolve in real time. And then I think she had a breakdown almost
hmm
when she sees the fox,
hmm
which is like, I'm always thinking about symbolism and spirituality and a lot of people who are spiritual, not necessarily religious, but people who are spiritual feel like that certain um people can be like embodied in animals and things. And so she had this fox, and the fox was like there, almost in a way of like, I'm here, I got your back, I'm protecting you. She was obviously scared, but I think she was more bothered that the fox was not even tripping off of her. And the
hmm
fox was like just floating on by. And then she just randomly starts shouting, Mom, 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 Mom. Like, and I was like, is she thinking that this fox is her mom, like a
hmm
guardian angel in this
Yeah.
fox? And so that kind of just hit me. And I was like, oh, wow, you just see that she's breaking down over the course of this. And that was to
Yeah.
me kind of like this huge moment for her.
Yeah, I that definitely stood out to me. Also the passage about just like the passage that you had read before about like, you know, essentially like yeah, that, she could kind of just be in nature and it sort of can help absolve her of like so much of the darkness that she's kind of been through. I don't know. I really loved that passage. I thought it was very beautifully written and it really resonated with me because I don't know, like I feel you. Like it's like, yeah, I think that that is why that is one of the like most beautiful things about nature and a big part of the reason why I seek it out because it just kind of like to me it like that is like the real world, you know what I mean? Like and this hellscape that we're living in is like a very weird messed up simulation, but
Yeah.
that is like yeah, where you can just be and there is no real kind of like, I mean, I'm not gonna say there is no right or wrong, but in terms of like the standards and measures that we have in like our quote unquote civilization in our society, like, we're judged by something that's entirely different in nature. And I do feel like it is like where I can experience like the purest, most real version of myself. And so
There's an
yeah,
organic rawness to it. Like
yeah,
it's like raw nuts. It just is there. It's straightforward. There's no
yeah,
sugarcoating it. Like everything else, walking down my block and walking through the wilderness are not the same things.
yeah,
So
definitely. Um, gosh, I think I highlighted that quote too, but I feel like I need to like, it was just very, very beautifully written. Um, Yeah, I'm so sorry. I'm trying to find my bearings. But then the last thing you mentioned, yeah, about the fox, I think that that also stood out to me as well. And I wasn't quite sure what to make of it, but I really liked the way that you phrased it. That, yeah, I think I mean, she came on this trail, I think, to kind of like essentially like fall apart so that I mean, she did a lot of falling apart before she got on the trail, but I think that the trail itself was meant to be like this experience of like starting to put those pieces back together. And I think that as a part of that, there's going to be like a lot of breakdowns and revelations and things like that. And I think that this moment with the fox, like, it is interesting. I wonder if, yeah, in some way that fox was meant to represent like a protector for her, um or what she was experiencing when she was like so devastated to see it go. um but yeah, she's this is it, she's in it. Like, she's
Yeah,
in the experience. It's
she
I
is,
don't
but
know.
it's super unfortunate though that
Yeah,
the snow really kind of messed this whole thing up because
yeah,
this constant in and out, it messed it up, but also might have been like a godsend in a way, if you think
yeah,
about it, especially how clearly ill-prepared she was. Like she was
yeah.
not prepared for this. Like
No.
she doesn't have enough money, she didn't pack the right things, and then she got rid of the thing that she needed, you know?
Yeah,
And so the snow might honestly have saved her life
yeah,
because if you really think, or if you're just me digging way deeper into a book than you need to,
yeah,
but I'm just saying, like, who knows what her inexperience could have caused if the weather was favorable. Like, there's so many other elements besides snow that can be dangerous in the wilderness.
yeah,
So I don't know. Like this was probably the path that she needed to take and all these obstacles and on and offs of the trail. Because again, I'm not familiar with the rules of through hiking and, if it's anything like climbing where it
you
doesn't
didn't
really
send
count
it,
if you did.
so
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Like, does this count because
Yeah,
you didn't go the right way? You got off the trail. You stayed in a
yeah,
this and yeah, yeah. I'm sure there's like those same people for through hiking as there are in the climbing space.
yeah,
And, at the end of the day, whatever her goals was, as long as that was accomplished, that's all that matters. Same with me. Like, however I got to the top of the wall, I don't care. I got up, I
yeah,
got down, I'm going home.
yeah,
Like y'all can miss me
yeah.
with the rest. But
Seriously.
um,
Yeah.
so yeah, it's good. It's good. But yeah, these chapters were very tame. And honestly, that Fox moment was like the most interesting thing because I'm like, girl, it's going away. You don't start screaming. You let it
Yeah.
go. Like you
Yeah.
don't scream
Right.
at the wildlife.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
sis,
Right.
like you was trying to be quiet, and then when it goes
Right.
away, you scream it. Like, no,
Right.
be
At
quiet.
least
I'm
she
like,
didn't try to go up and get it, like go after
no,
it. But yeah, yeah, I don't know. I agree. Like, I think that like she made the right choice. And it's weird, like, because on the one hand, like, right, yeah, I agree. I'm like, I was having that thought of like by her, like bypassing certain sections and like, deviating from the trail to go to lower elevation and whatever, like, does it count? Um, and I mean, maybe in the eyes of a through hiker, it does or it doesn't. I don't know. But like, I think for what the purposes that like the reason that she set out to do the trail, like, I think that like, as frustrating and as upsetting as it probably was to have to like bypass different routes and like, make so many like special accommodations for her journey, like, I think that it was a crucial part of the character building that she kind of like needed to get the most out of this experience. Like, she has to kind of like just be out there and it's just her. It's just
yeah,
her and she just got to figure it out. And I think that that is part of like the toughening and the kind of like I don't like the word hardening, but it's like the there is a specific word that I'm looking for that I can't think of, but that kind of like fortification that she kind of needed as a person. I think that a big part of that is in the experience of like navigating these obstacles and overcoming them. And also, like I feel like there's like a certain wisdom that she is like accruing, like it took wisdom and like like it took smarts to like make the decision to not keep going or to like, like I think she's just having to like exercise a certain level of like wisdom, which I think is also like a sign of growth because like she could have bailed, she could have like, stayed with Doug and Tom, like she could have made all of these decisions that maybe would have been in contradiction to like her goals and her intentions that she made when she set out on the trip. And so, yeah, I think that even in like making these choices, there's like a level of like growth that she's like experiencing by like having to, because I'm sure she didn't want to make those decisions, but like she did and she kind of like stuck to them. And so yeah, I think it's all good. I say she is doing the trail. And anybody who got something to say about
Y'all can come for Melanie. So Melanie is prepared for all the heat.
um, but yeah, yeah. So that is chapter
Chapter,
9.
yep.
And now, yeah, the last chapter in this section was chapter 10. Okay, this is where it was like, oh my God, it actually did kind of get a little bit real here.
Hmm.
I mean, some of the like storytelling and like
Yes, the
memories that she
flashbacks.
recalled, but then also like the experience of being on the trail itself. Oh my God. Okay, so she gets to Packer Lake Lodge. She wants to buy a meal. She can't because she only got 65 cents.
No, I wrote 60. I feel like
Oh
she
yeah, she
has,
dropped a nickel. She did.
yes,
She dropped a nickel. It's true.
she got 60 cents.
um, so I think they told her that the best they could do was a cup of coffee and she would get free refills. But I mean, if
Yeah.
you want your guts to like fall out of your body, like I guess you can just sustain yourself on coffee. So she declines the coffee and she decides to go outside and eat her lunch. And she runs into a woman who overheard her talking about the PCT, and she's staying at a cabin with her family nearby. And she offers to take Cheryl back to the cabin so that she can shower, and she feeds her while she's there. She gives her a sandwich. Her husband forgets the cheese. She's like, how you gonna forget the cheese? She gives Cheryl like a bunch of cheese. And yeah, Cheryl is, fortunate enough to experience the goodwill of strangers while she's out on the trail. Um, and yeah, she ends up trading one of her books for one of the guy's books. And it was by this author. I don't remember the author's name, but it was an author that her mother loved.
Yeah, I didn't write it
Um,
down, and it's not an author I've ever heard of. Oh,
yeah.
but I guess I see it now.
Milner?
Yeah, I am on the page of
Mm,
this person. Yeah, Mishner. I don't know how you, or
okay.
Missioner.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Okay. Yeah, so it was an author that her mother loved. And I don't know, I'm also not familiar with this author, but I guess they were like maybe like I
James
think of
Mishner.
who's the dude that wrote The Pelican? John Grisham? I don't know. That
Oh, okay.
just wanted like somebody who like just
Like
publishes and cranks out books and
like
they
James Patterson used to be.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, like
Or
maybe
Nora
it's
Roberts. They just drop in like
right. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. And it's kind of like, I don't know, her professor basically describes this author as like not a serious author. And if Cheryl really wants to become a writer, she needs to stop reading these works. But Cheryl grew up reading these books because it was who her mother loved and it was what was available in their library at home. But once she kind of like learns in college that he's not a serious author, she kind of like shames her mom for, listening to for reading this author. Um and that was something that was interesting to me. Just I don't know, like I don't know. I had like moments of like kind of like feeling a little bit ashamed myself because there were just moments where she thinks about like how arrogant she was and like disrespectful she was to her mother and how she had like shamed her mom for reading this book and saying that this person isn't a serious author and being like, you really shouldn't be reading him. Like, he's not good enough. And moments where she talks to her mom and says, like, isn't it crazy how, like, much more sophisticated your kids are than you and we're like half your age or something like that. Just being like a little shit, you know what I
Brat.
mean? Like, yeah. Um, and I don't know, it makes me think of like, I'm not I feel like I think I'm a good person. But I definitely have had moments like, and my mom's smart as shit, actually. She like is like I don't know if she has her MBA, but she has a master's and she is like an accountant and stuff. But I was like a snarky little brat sometimes, and like I think about I don't know, that kind of like struck me and like tugged at my heartstrings a little bit because I was just like, man, like I owe my parents so much more than like what I've like given them. Not to say that they're perfect and we can get into
But to be fair,
yeah,
there was an age
yeah,
where all of us preteen, teenage girls were absolute assholes. I'm not
yeah.
myself included. And I was a good kid. I
Yeah.
I was a good kid and I got smacked and I deserved it fully. I didn't even get spankings. I didn't get whoopings. I was
Yeah.
like, I didn't mouth off, but there was a day,
There
and
was
I was
a day.
definitely, I don't know, prepubescent, whatever.
Yeah.
Maybe it was a period. I don't know, but I talked out the side of my mouth.
Oh,
And so I think, there's just a certain amount of hormones that I don't think,
true.
you know, can
True.
be controlled. Now, these girls today, they got food hormones, internal hormones. They got access to things that we didn't know about hormones. Like they got a whole different
Yeah.
level of like smart assedness than what we did. But
Yeah.
I think we all was like, damn.
Little
Especially the
assholes.
good kids was like, damn, that one time that I was not a good kid.
Yeah.
I feel real bad about that because
I know.
we were good kids. Real bad
I
kids
was
don't
a
feel
good
bad about
kid.
stuff. They don't think about
True.
like that one, two, three, four. They
True.
just like bad kids. Like it's the good
Yeah.
kids that be like, damn, I'll never forget that one time 25 years ago when
Yeah,
I
I know. It's true. It's true.
So,
That's true. I was a good kid. I did not sneak out of the house, never tried any drugs. I was so good. And like, I don't know. We can get into like we can unpack childhood experiences another time. But yeah.
can we just not overlook the fact that right when she got to the lodge, she asked about Greg.
She did. She
Yes.
did. Okay.
Yes, at the very
Oh,
second.
she asked one of the waiters. Yeah, yeah,
Yes.
yeah. She
She was
did.
like, he's
So where's
40-ish,
Greg? Yeah.
brown hair. I'm just trying to, look, it was one
Yeah.
sentence,
Right.
but I just wanted to take note.
Yeah. Not
Not that
to
she's
put up
thinking
missing
about Greg,
posters. Yeah.
but is this kind of like a little warning of what is going on with Greg? Just saying,
Yeah.
just let's not forget. But
We
anyway,
shan't.
you know me, I'm always thinking about the nuggets, the little.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, but yes, she
Yeah.
gets some food, some real food, and she goes completely
Yeah.
crazy
Yeah.
because she was so hungry.
Yeah, she scarfs it down. She ends up talking to the family, learning about their daughters. Like I said, she exchanged one of her books for one of his books by this author. And I think that like, she does recall that she did really enjoy this author when she was younger, but also I think there was like some nostalgia or like some desire to like connect with her mom through literature. Um and so she heads out. Cheryl gives her a ride to try to get her back on the trail, but she's trying to get her bearings. She ends up connecting with some college students who are like working at like a summer camp, basically.
Oh,
Um, excuse me. And they are like, yeah, we have some errands to run, but we'll give you a ride to this trail. And from that trail, it's like a really short hike to connect back to the PCT. Um, and they drop her off towards the evening, like when it's getting dark at this campground, or near this campground. And she's like, oh my God, like where am I? Like she's like looking around, she can't find the sign to indicate where she is. And like the campground that they told her they would drop her off at is White Horse Campground, or that I think they said that like White Horse Campground should be just like a very short walk away. Um, and she sees a sign. She's like, okay, finally, I see a sign for White Horse Campground.
Which is
Then she,
ironic after the horse story she tells in her flashback that she
yeah,
stays at a campsite with the name horse in it.
I know. Wait, does that happen before this? Should we talk about the horse?
The horse does happen before this.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
she spends a lot of this chapter
I
talking
know,
about
talking
the
about that horse.
horse.
I know. I took a lot of notes about that horse because
Yeah.
look, I'm not a horse girly. I will ride them.
Hmm.
I think they're very beautiful, but
Hmm.
also unpredictable.
Hmm.
But that horse flashback was wild.
Oh my gosh.
Like,
It was so much.
I'm sorry, Eddie. Eddie, you ain't shit for that.
Yeah, you ain't
Like,
shit, Eddie.
Eddie.
Eddie, you should know better. Oh,
Mm-mm.
Curtis Mayfield has a song. He says, Eddie, you should know better. And Eddie should have known better.
Yeah. But basically, like, her and Eddie, honestly, and I guess Eddie was still fairly young, but like once her mom passed, Eddie was like deuces. Like really, y'all
Yeah.
wasn't really my kids, which is not normal, honestly. A lot of people would have
Yeah.
still maintained some type of relationship, like holiday invites. And I just feel
Because
like,
he was so close with them, like
yeah,
for
yeah,
like 15 years, he was like
yeah.
a huge part of their life.
It is very peculiar to me that this
Yeah.
was such a cutoff and he essentially just started his own family
Yeah. I wondered
and
about that too.
they were just like these people he knew back in the day. It's like, oh
That was
yeah, those
wild.
folks I used to mess with, like that's what it was.
Yeah.
And you know, I don't know.
That was so wild. Yeah, she talks because the girls in the college girls are like, yeah, so like, aren't your parents worried about you? And she's like, I don't have parents, they're dead. And they're like, oh, this is awkward. And
Oh no, no,
then,
no, no, no. You're right though. This does happen after she gets dropped off at the campground.
oh,
They tell the
when
story.
she tells the story about the horse.
Yeah, when she gets into more details about Lady. But
Okay. But at that point, she does talk about Eddie and her relationship with Eddie. And
yeah,
she's
now
like, I
she's at
feel
the campground
bad.
and she's thinking about that.
Was
And
that when did she talk about Eddie though, when she was like en route with the girls? Like, cause she's like,
yeah,
I
yeah,
feel
kind
bad that
of.
I didn't talk about him.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. So she does
Yeah.
talk a little bit about
I see.
Eddie, and
Yeah.
then she goes
They drop
back
her
into that.
off. Yeah. And then she
Yep,
goes back.
yep.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, yeah, she briefly talks about Eddie. That was also crazy to me. Just like, I just don't understand that. You know what I mean? And maybe for him, like, I guess to try to like give him the benefit of the doubt, maybe he loved their mom deeply and like maintaining a connection with them was like making it harder for him to like move on from like, because he also suffered a really big loss. And so
Yeah.
maybe like
Maybe it
they
was
were
too
too much of a
much.
reminder.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But
Um,
still, it is. But I don't
yeah.
know.
It's a
I
weak excuse, but
yeah. I
yeah.
mean, okay, you grieve,
Yeah.
and then you still have family. Like
Right.
people don't just like my
Yeah.
dad passed away. I'm not still talking to my brother or my,
Right.
like you still
Yeah.
connect. I don't know. I can
Yeah.
see the relationship shifting, but to me, it just went completely stiff altogether. Like
Yeah.
there was no relationship anymore at all.
Right.
And that is weird to me.
Yeah. But it's also like, okay, sorry, I don't mean this to sound super shady towards men, but like it doesn't surprise me that like a man would be the one to do this. Like I don't know how bad that sounds, but like in my mind, I'm like, I feel like it just seems like it's easier for men to like even if they feel like I wouldn't be surprised if Eddie like felt really bad or felt internal shame about like the way that he was treating like Cheryl and her brothers or her siblings. But I wonder like I don't know, it just seems to me like it's easier for men to like be like this hurts and it's painful and I feel really bad about doing this, but I'm gonna do it anyways, like
Yeah, I mean, I can see that. I can see
yeah.
that, but I just think Eddie was a particular person
Yeah,
and this is how he handled it.
true.
I still feel like that because there's men who are raising kids that are not their own,
Yeah.
you know?
And at this
Like,
point, he didn't even have to raise them. Like they were grown, doing their
right.
own thing.
That's why to me it's so weird and I don't
Yeah.
understand it.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm not going to, but
Yeah.
it's just interesting. And to me, it only exacerbates her abandonment issues. Like, if you
Hmm.
really think about it, her dad abandoned her. In a way,
Hmm.
her mom abandoned her. And then Eddie abandoned her.
Yeah.
And to some degree, and not really any degree, it was like to fight back on that. She then abandons her husband or
Hmm.
ex-husband, like she starts
Yeah.
to push everybody away. So, yeah. But you were right. So, she thought about Eddie. She gets dropped
Yeah.
off at this campground,
Yeah.
but finds out she's nowhere near where she's supposed to be.
Right. So yeah, they they're like, yeah, it should be a short distance to this campground. She sees the sign. She's like, okay, the campground. And then she realizes that the campground's like 2 miles away. And at this point, it's basically dark out. Like if it had been daytime, it might not have been a huge deal, but it's basically dark out. So she ends up seeing this other campground. This part of the story pissed me off. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
But she ends up seeing another campground.
Although it would have
Yeah.
pissed me off more if she was not white. So I was actually
Yeah.
pissed and surprised,
Me
like
too.
really
I was like,
confused.
wow, wait, they don't just look out for each other all the
Maybe it was like that. Yeah, I don't
time.
know. No, you run a campground, you're gonna get hippies. So I could not
Yeah. I know. Maybe it was
understand.
like an ageism type of thing. I don't know because she said they were old. But she gets to this campground and it's not the one that she was aiming for, but it is a campground that is nearby, but it's like you have to pay to camp there. And she sees that it's like very sparse, spread out, like nobody's really around, or it's just like a few campers and like RVs and stuff around, but I don't think it's very populated. And she is like, all right, well, I don't have any money at this point. Remember, she is like 60 cents,
60
I think,
cents. Yep.
still. And so she's like, well, I'm just gonna like, you know, tuck into a little corner and like just sleep through the night and like, go on in the morning. And as soon as she finishes, she warms up some food, ends up eating. As soon as she finishes, when she said she had her headlight, she was like, yeah, I was eating my dinner by the headlight. I was like, that's where you went wrong, girl. Like I had a feeling when she said that she had her headlight on while she was like eating and like getting her like which obviously she probably would have to do, but I just had a
Yeah.
feeling that things
But if
weren't
you
going to
want to
go her
be
way.
incognito,
Right. Yeah.
yeah.
And so for real, she should just loop back and just went to sleep and not turn her headlight on. But anyways, okay. So she ends up pitching her tent, making some breakfast, eating, or some dinner and eating. And while she's like in her tent, I think starting to settle down and maybe read a little bit, the camp hosts pull up and they're like, you got to pay. Like, give us $12. You have to pay, or you can't stay here. And she has like this back and forth exchange with them, tries to explain her situation and say, like, hey, I'm on the PCT. I just don't have any money right now. And they don't care. Like they're not having it. Like they're like, you gotta go, sis. Like
They're like,
we
don't
don't
you see our campground? We ain't got nobody here. We don't care. We need money.
yeah.
We just as broke as you.
Like they are like really not having it. And like they yeah, they're like, we would hate to have to call the police on you, little white girl, but we will do that. Um, and so she has to get to stepping, which is that was so yes, okay. So two things, right? Like, yes, I was mad for her. Like I was like, are you serious? Like she could die out here.
Mhm.
There's so many reasons why this is a bad idea. Like she could, like she said, like slip on the trail or encounter a wild animal that could like really hurt her. She could get injured. She could like fall off the side of a cliff. She could, it's unlike the most unlikely thing is for somebody to kidnap her and like do her harm, but that's a possibility too. Um, and I was just like, wow, that is so cold. Like that's so messed up.
Yeah.
um, but also, yes, I was surprised that they like because I was like, dang, I would expect that to happen to me, or like, a person of color. But it did surprise me that like they would do this to a young woman. like a
Yeah.
young white woman. So yeah, I don't know. That was wild. That was wild, and I was like, dang. So like, white people be mean to other white people.
Yeah.
It's
I
crazy.
think too, like we're talking California,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
California is a different place.
Yeah.
Maybe if this was Kentucky or Oklahoma or Alabama, that
Yeah.
Southern hospitality,
Right.
but California is like, I guess the evil, well, maybe not the evil, but the twin of New York. New Yorkers don't
Mm.
care. Like,
Yeah.
you ain't got no money to ride the subway? Bye. Like,
Yeah.
and we don't care.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think
True.
those states are just a little bit more like it's a dog eat dog world out here. We need money. You don't have it. Goodbye.
Yeah.
Like if we have sympathy for every little homeless
But it's like you was
backpacker out
going,
here.
yeah, true, fair. I mean, not fair. I actually still disagree with their decision.
No, 100%.
But
100%. I mean, she was
um,
like literally gonna be there for 2 seconds, but
right, yeah. It's like you wasn't gonna get money anyways. If she stayed or didn't stay, you were still not gonna get $12. So like just let her stay. But yeah, whatever. I don't know. They're just like some old bitter
yeah,
people, I guess.
they just
But
mad because they can't do the PCT.
right. That's what it is, honestly. But so they kick her out. They're like, you gotta go, sis. So she ends up hiking in the dark until she finds a suitable place to camp. And this is actually where she ends up like kind of hiking west to try to find that Jeep road. So that happens the next day, but she ends up finding a place to camp, falls asleep. The next morning, she makes a plan to hike west to connect with this Jeep road so that she can try to get to a lower elevation to bypass what's left of the snow. Um, and while she's hiking along this Jeep road, she meets these guys who are camping at a lake nearby. They pull up. She gets her period, and like literally, as she's pulling up her pants, trying to like, from like trying to like stuff a sponge, like a makeshift tampon in. This truck pulls up. I don't know if it was a Jeep or not, but a truck pulls up and it's full of these guys who are going camping at this nearby lake. And she ends up joining them later on once she gets there. One of the men is from Mexico, and yeah, she has drinks with them and chats. And the man from
Hawaiian screwdrivers. Never heard of that before.
yeah, I mean, I guess it's a screwdriver with
It's
pineapple
pineapple.
juice,
Yeah.
right, instead of
Hmm.
orange juice. Um, and yeah, she has some drinks, and again, finally, she gets some more goodwill. And this guy from Mexico has like this spiritual connection with her, and he's like, "You are like a person who walks with nature," or something like that. And I feel like she has a moment where he like sees her, and he's like, "I get you. Like, I get what you're doing. I get why you're doing this. Like,
Yeah.
even if I don't know the specific reasons, like." I understand that there's like a level of respect that you have for like nature and the wilderness, and like he connects with her, and he hands her a shirt that has Bob Marley on the front and Haile Selassie on the back. Um, and yeah, they end up having this kind of like spiritual connection, and she takes his shirt and ends up wearing it the next day when she hikes to Belden Town. Um, I think she hikes, and she gets her resupply box there. And while she's there, she meets two women. So at this point, like I'm starting to get a little bit lost on like her journey. Like I'm trying to like map it out in my mind.
Yeah, like where she's at.
Yeah, because like right, she goes to the
We
lodge.
can look at the map again, but yeah.
Yeah, and so from the lodge, she goes to the lodge, which takes her out of the way of the trail. From the lodge, she ends up meeting. Is that where she meets that lady? That's where she meets the lady who takes her back to her cabin. And then she ends up going, I don't, at this point, yeah, I don't know where the White Horse Campground was in relation to the
I don't
pattern
either,
of the
but I know she
lodge.
was just trying to get back to the correct trail area.
Right. Yeah. So I
And
don't
she
know
got
how far
to
out of the way she is
in
right now.
Belden Town, that was where her resupply box was, right?
Yeah. So I guess she
Yeah.
did end up where she was supposed to be.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, she ends up kind of like taking a little loop-de-loop to get there. But when she's there, it's like she realizes it's not even so much of a town as like one or two buildings clustered together, and like all of this
Yeah.
town's operations happen out of that building.
I don't think you can see that, but
I can
yeah.
kind of see it. Yeah. Um,
Yeah, Belle in town and she gets her Snapple.
yeah, she gets her Snapple. And she gets her $20 too. She already blew almost half of it within like the first five. I'm
Yeah.
like, girl, you did not need that Snapple. Like, you didn't need two, but
Mm-mm.
okay. Um, anyways, so yeah, she ends up meeting this group of women or two women. I think they were separate, like they weren't together, but they end up kind of like
Yeah.
stumbling upon each other around the same time and a man named Brent, and they're all hiking the PCT. And they decide to camp together and kind of come up with a plan for how they're going to continue on and how they're going to get through the snow. They go to a bar and get some food and drinks, and the bartender gives her a drink on the house. And I think in the moment she's just like, "Oh, this is just like a nice man who's like doing a nice thing because he knows I'm going through a hard time." And she ends up hiking, not hiking. When she gets to the campground, I guess she had to go back in the direction of the bar for some reason, and she runs into the guy again. He's like on the porch for a smoke, and he's like, basically propositioning her for sex. Like he's like, I got more wine. You can come back to my place. You can sleep on my bed. I'll sleep on the couch and kind of just being like a creep a
Creep.
little bit.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Um, but again, to her credit and to the growth that she has made as a person, I do feel like there is a version of her in the past that would have like been flattered enough by his creepiness that like she would have done something that probably felt really sleazy and icky just to get that like validation and that comfort. And she like turns him down and she's like, no, like I'm, gonna go. And I think to the credit of her growth, like she feels like a little bit flattered, but also a little bit grossed out. But the
Yeah.
feelings of being grossed out, I think, are greater, like more profound and more strong than the feelings of being like flattered or like, tempted to do that. But yeah, she does find out. So now we find out what happened to Greg. You want to tell the people what happened to Greg?
Yeah. I mean, so yeah, she linked up with Brent, who I think she is also might be feeling.
Yeah.
I like how blonde, blue-eyed, experienced hiker cometh across my path. I'm gonna make a love story out of this no matter what. But yeah, so basically, he's letting her know that, hey, your boots are too small. Like that's why you're having all these issues with your feet.
Mhm.
They weren't sized properly. We don't care what you did at that bleep bleep store where you went and tried and tested and got on their little fake practice mountain. But I guess Brent was the one who said, "Oh yeah, Greg, we know Greg."
Yeah.
Apparently Greg dropped out. Said snow is a no.
Snow is a no.
And she, once and for all. And this was interesting to me because it's like Greg is fast. Greg is experienced.
Right.
Again, if Greg is dropping out, I'm definitely wondering what happened to Doug and Tom.
Right.
And then
Yeah.
for her mentally, what does that do to you? And again, I'm like, is she still miss I'm solo, I'm about this life, I don't need nobody? Or
Yeah.
is she gonna latch on to Brent and Trina and the peeps that she just hooked up with? Or
Right.
like what is it?
Yeah.
She still doesn't have a lot of money. She got like what, $9 left and 134 miles
Like
left
how you
until
spend like half your money in like 5 minutes. Like, come on now.
yeah,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't know. But
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So Greg is alive.
Greg is
Well,
alive.
as of the point in this book, we know Greg is
Yes.
still
We
kicking
hope
and
you're out
good.
there right now, Greg. If you're
Yeah.
listening, send us a sign. If you're
Yes.
listening, please comment. Maybe you can join the show.
Yeah.
That would
Tell
be
us how that
fun.
trail really went.
Yeah.
But and did you go back? I'm sure he went back.
Yeah.
He had to have gone back.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think he was like, this snow is too much. I'm gonna do this another time. It's not worth
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Um, which seemed to be the theme. Like, I don't know why anybody's out there, but people
Why is
gonna do what they
anybody
do.
doing this at all?
Everybody's like, record snow. This is
Yeah.
unheard of. Like,
Yeah.
y'all go home. Go
Yeah.
home. It's probably dangerous without the snow.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, yeah, for sure.
but yeah.
So yeah, yeah. Greg, he's alive. He's out there. He's heading back home. Tacoma, I think is where he said he was from. And I don't know. I'm very curious, like what she was feeling in that moment, kind of like to your point, like because it's like, right, this is a guy that encouraged you and like inspired you to keep going. So now in her mind, this is like I feel like this is kind of like her, I don't want to say her idol, but this is like the beacon of light that she
Hmm.
keeps in mind. I feel like whenever she gets discouraged or thinks that she can't do it. And now he's not doing it anymore. So, like, are
Yeah.
you, at any point, is she going to decide that she can't do it or doesn't want to see it through? Um, but yeah. And then there was that moment where she like kind of was like flirting. We're like nearing the end. And I want to go back to Lady because, well, did we talk about Lady?
We didn't get too
We
deep
didn't get
into
into it.
Lady. And I mean, I'm happy to talk about it. I don't
Yeah.
know how deep I want to get into it. We just talked about how trash Eddie was
Eddie was trash. Eddie
for
was
not
trash.
really. I mean,
Yeah.
we kind of got more into the fact that he really just divorced them
Yeah.
ultimately.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can go
Maybe
back to Lady. I don't have a lot of thoughts other than,
it was awful.
yeah, I
Yeah,
think
I
that's
think
why
I
I'm like,
agree. Like, I don't think that there's much that we need to say. I don't want to go into too much detail, but she described very graphically how she had to put down this horse lady, and it was her mother's horse. Her mother loves horses. She says horses is her are her mother's religion.
yeah,
They would basically do anything she could to ride them. And she finally was able to like get her first horse because there's like some purebred. I don't know anything about horses, but there was a family that she met that had a purebred horse that they wanted to kind of get rid of for cheap. And she ended up coming up with a payment plan and worked like her ass off to be able to afford to pay for this horse. But she worked
$300.
for like 6 months or something like
Mm-hmm.
that. Yeah. And she ended up, yeah, getting the horse. Um, and it was, yeah, her first horse. They ended up getting a second horse too, but Cheryl ended up kind of like obviously building a relationship with that horse and growing very close with her. And after her mother died, Eddie was supposed to take care of the horse, and Eddie basically, the horses, there were two of them at this point, and Eddie basically like abandoned them. Like he like
Yeah.
was splitting his time, like spending a little bit of time at this property where they all grew up, and then a lot of time with his new wife and his new family in some trailer elsewhere. And kind of just, so I'm like, were the horses just in their stalls the entire time? Like they probably weren't even like being walked or having their stalls cleaned. They probably weren't getting any sort of exercise or enrichment or anything like that, which is just awful. But they had a neighbor who would come by and like feed them from time to time, but that was basically it.
Yeah.
And when Cheryl got back, she could see that the horses were frail, and or one of the horses in particular, lady, was frail,
Which
and we,
who and was 31, it wasn't a
yeah,
young horse.
right, true.
So it wasn't, I
It might
think,
not have been neglect,
yeah, but I mean, I think it could be a combination. I think
right?
the horse was definitely neglected,
Neglected, yeah,
but also old. And the
right,
older a horse is, you really can't neglect it. Like, I'm not
yeah,
a horseologist or anything, but even
yeah,
I know that the older animals get, the more care they need, like us as
yeah,
people. So,
yeah. Yeah. So yeah, she comes back and right, like I agree. I think that like it was a combination of not being neglected and old age, and she kind of confronts Eddie about this horse and she's like, we need to do something. They call a vet and describe the situation. Um and we yeah, the vet basically recommends that they put the horse down. And Eddie says he'll do it. She goes away, comes back to stay at that house for, I think, the Christmas holiday. And Eddie has not put the horse down. She's like stressed out when she pulls up. She's like nervous and sad because she thinks, this is going to be the first time I've pulled up and Lady hasn't been around. and Lady was around. Like Lady was still alive, shivering, freezing in the Minnesota winter. Fuck you, Eddie. That's so
Yeah.
shitty. Eddie did not do what he said he would do. And so she calls her, was it her
Her
dad at
brother.
the time? Her brother? She
Yeah.
called somebody. No, she called her grandpa at first. She called her
Oh, to get
grandpa.
advice on what to
Right.
do. Hmm.
Right. To get advice. And he kind of like describes how she should put the horse down. Because the options are she can either pay a veterinarian to give them a shot to euthanize the horse, or she can shoot it. And I would not have been able to shoot it. Like I
Mm-mm.
would have had to just do whatever I had to do to save up the money to pay somebody to euthanize the horse, but I don't think there's any way I could have I don't think I could have done it. Like,
I can't even shoot a dog on target, so
yeah.
I couldn't even have been in the room. I
Yeah.
couldn't have been anywhere near any of it.
Yeah, yeah. So she she calls her grandpa who, trained her mom up in horses, and he gives her advice again, seconding the veterinarian's advice, like you need to put the horse down. Tells her how to do it. She calls her brother to come. Oh God. I'm not going to go into detail beyond this, but she calls her brother to come, and he ends up shooting the horse. Um, and she kind of stands by. So, like, she is there. Again, like you said, I don't think I would have been able to be there, but he ends up doing it. And that was just so graphic and dark. And, like, in a way, it was like really graphic and like sad and awful. But I was like, there's a certain beauty with which she is writing the story, like
Yeah.
talking about the relationship with the horse and how she, like, had this, like, how she tried her best to kind of like comfort the horse and like,
Yeah, I think I even wrote down initially kind of like what she said about it because I thought, as horrifying as it was,
yeah.
it's sort of this little bit of a twist on it where she was like that the worst thing I'd ever done had been a healing instead of a massacre.
Ooh, I don't recall that writing.
Maybe that didn't have to do with the horse,
Probably, I'm sure it did. It sounds like it. Um,
but now I can't find it. I wrote
let
it
me
down, but
see.
the page number that I'm looking at does not. Oh no. Yeah, it was about Lady.
Uh-huh. Yeah, that makes
Um,
sense.
yeah, because she says she imagined our mother crossing a great river on Lady's strong back,
Right.
finally leaving us nearly 3 years after she died. So I guess she kind of felt like now her mom will be at peace because she has her favorite thing with her
Yeah.
in the afterlife. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it was just awful. Like it was like really sad. Um, But yes, I think that right. Like there was like a way that she described it that was like also very beautiful and like recalling the connection that she had had with the horse, and like the way the horse kind of like what it meant to her, what it meant to her mother. And I think that there's, death is obviously terrible, but I think that like there can be a certain beauty in death as well. And I think that she did a really good job of like writing it in a way that kind of captured both. But the death itself was like excruciating and like very graphic, and that was hard to read. That was pretty tough to read, but they end up, you know, finishing the job, and Lady ends up dying. Um, and that's kind of, I think, where the story ends. I'm wondering if I'm missing anything.
Yeah, that's pretty much it with I mean, I think I literally read the sentence I read was the end of that entire moment.
Yeah,
Um, which then kind of we went a little back, but then that takes us back forward to her meeting Brent and all the other people and sort
right.
of wrapping up this whole fireside or campsite experience with these new people. I don't think it really got into how she might be with these new people. I did
Mhm.
think it was interesting though that she smoked pot and was drinking.
With
And
the Mexican dude and
y-
his friends or brother.
here's the thing, like as someone who has dated an alcoholic,
Mm,
typically, and again, I don't know that she's even at a point of of really like accepting her addiction and
mm,
but usually you can't really do other things if you really want to get healed per
Hmm.
se. Like you know, because he thought like, oh, I'll quit drinking and just smoke pot all the time.
Hmm.
And it was just still more self-medicating. So I kind of got a little nervous when she started to
Hmm.
indulge in those things
Hmm.
when it's still so fresh with the heroin.
Hmm.
Because people try to say like, oh, weed's not addictive, alcohol, or you know, like, look, alcohol is addictive, weed can be addictive.
Hmm.
She's already addicted to something else, like,
Yeah.
and healing and going through a lot of things. So I was just a little triggered and curious, like how this new group
Hmm.
might be. I mean, I assume she's gonna continue her solo, you know, leave me alone kind of path,
Yeah.
you know, because I don't know. I kind of wrote some prediction prompts this time around
Yeah. Well, so the
for
new group
us.
that she connected with, the group of hikers, is different from the people that gave her the weed and alcohol.
Yes,
Right.
yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. But I mean, I don't know. They seem like stand-up people so far, like the new group that she's hiking with. So she ends up deciding to kind of like continue on along like the plan was to like right, like hike these lower elevation trails until they get to a place where they've bypassed all of the snow. I think Brent, the only guy in the group, had the same idea. But I think, she said he just like hikes faster than us. So he's probably going to
Yeah.
like pass us and keep going, and it'll just be me and these other women. So again, like she did end up, there is a point where she ends up not um, being alone and deciding to hike in a group. And I guess, maybe she's realizing that there's this balance between like doing it alone and like there are times where you just kind of need comrades and like people to kind of like do it with you. So,
But do you think it's different because it's women this time for the most part versus in the
yeah.
previous instances where,
Yeah.
you know, like, especially because there's clearly this trauma with men?
Yeah, I mean, I think so. She doesn't call that out explicitly. I don't remember her mentioning that, but I do think that she was more willing to go with them and like, link up with them and stay together because were women. I do think that there's something there. Um, yeah.
Well, this chapter basically ends with her and Brent.
You're
I'm not,
trying to make
I'm
this
not,
happen.
I'm not trying to even take it there,
I'm not trying to take
but,
it there, but they did take it there.
but they took it there because there was a shooting star,
Yeah.
and he was like, "You got to make a wish. It's a shooting star." And one of my questions, I have two questions. A, do you think she's gonna stay in a group for the remainder of
Yeah.
the hike?
Hmm.
And B, what do you think she made a wish? Because they kind of was just, she was like, well, he was like, oh, you should wish for a horse so you never have to
Yeah.
deal with your feet.
Hmm.
And she was like, I made my wish. So I'm curious if you have any ideas what you think she wished for, but while you think
Yeah.
about that, do you think she's gonna actually stay in
I
this
think
group
I think
space
that she will probably stay with the two women at least until they get through the Jeep trails.
wherever they were planning on ending up?
Yeah, and like reconnect with the PCT. Like I think she'll probably stay with them until they reconnect with the PCT or until they at least get to the part where they're like, okay, we've bypassed the snow. We can like, figure out what we want to do from here. I suspect that's my prediction there. And then, yeah, what she wished for, I don't know exactly, but I feel like it had something to do with her mom. And my suspicion is that she maybe wished that like going back to her brother had mentioned like right like the native people believed that like when a great warrior died you had to shoot their horse so that the horse and the warrior could like go to the other side together, and my suspicion is that maybe she wished that like her mom and lady did actually reunite somewhere in their afterlife. And maybe that's too easy, but I'm basing that, yeah, obviously on like all of the context that she kind of gave us about her mom and lady um, in this chapter. But yeah, I don't know. But I think it had something to do with her mom for
And
sure.
there's no way for us to know that we will even find out about this lady's
Yeah.
wish. This may
Yeah.
not even have mattered that much to
Yeah.
her
I
from a
was
writing
curious too,
perspective.
though. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, whenever she ends on something, I'm like, what was
But
it?
what does
What?
it mean?
Yeah, it needs to
Yeah.
be deep.
Yeah.
But I definitely thought there was something to it.
Mhm.
I just was all over the place. I really just was like, she wants to like not hurt herself or anybody else anymore. Like she
Mm,
really wants to find peace on this journey and she wants to make it to the end. Like I feel like she's
mm,
wishing to complete this
mm,
for this to be a success.
mhm.
Um, and I think she's gonna try to keep up with Brent because she's feeling Brent. Because
Yeah.
Brent seems like a more mature version of Doug, you
Mhm.
know,
Yeah.
and Brent seems interested and curious, and I
Yeah.
don't know.
He
There's
was definitely kind
something.
of like flirting with her when he was talking about that star. Like, well, you're not going to get your wish now because he
Hmm.
said it out loud. Nye, nye, nye,
I
nye,
think Brent gonna be slow dragging. All of a sudden, Mister
nye.
Fast Hiker, he gonna be
Right.
like, "Oh, you okay?" Like super attentive. I mean, she
Right.
hasn't opened up to him, but
Hmm.
I'm catching vibes. Even though
Yeah.
I've caught vibes every single part. I didn't catch the vibes with the heroin addict, but
No, no.
you know.
Although she thought about him, and I think she wrote him a letter.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that struggle love. But
I
we are going to,
know.
I am going to say that I'm gonna say she's gonna try to like ride it out with Brent. I know this is
Yeah.
crazy and
Mhm.
probably unrealistic,
Yeah.
but also kind of don't want to guess the same as you. So if you think she's gonna ride it out with the girls, I say somehow her and Brent are gonna be connected
Yeah.
and take a similar path.
Interesting. I'd be curious,
So
yeah, if you're listening, if you're out there.
yeah,
Let me
make
know if you
y'all
got another
wishes.
prediction.
What are your predictions?
Yeah,
If
yeah.
you're reading with us and not,
Yeah.
you
I
know,
hope so.
post.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
Yeah, I'd be curious to know, but I guess we'll see. Ooh.
yeah. And this
Um,
next section, I think the rest of the sections are pretty. Oh no, this is a four chapter.
uh-huh.
All right. Oh yeah, the last two sections are pretty big actually.
Right,
So,
okay. Oh yeah, because the fifth one is five. No? Yeah,
yeah.
5 chapters. Oof. Okay.
Woof. All right, we're gonna have to be,
Very deliberate about our
yeah.
talking points. But
Yeah, we're gonna
yeah,
still try to keep it under an hour and a half, fingers crossed.
fingers crossed. We get into the weeds. It gets,
It's
the book
interesting.
goes there. Yeah, it's good. It's
Y'all
a
can use the chapter markers if you want to skip ahead and around. We
yeah.
leave, little markers in the show notes if you want to
Mhm.
jump around to different topics.
Cool.
But yeah, this was kind of not blah. I mean, at least at the end, I feel like there's hope for the next section, which
Yeah.
is the title chapter or title
Yeah.
section, if you want to call it, because it's
Right.
called Wild. So,
Right.
it's clearly written very booky where there's like this incline and then we're about to hit this peak. I
Right.
think I think the action is really about to happen in part four.
I think so too. Yeah, I agree.
So,
I think that like right, this was like the lull, the decline a little bit, and then like we're about to like ramp up again into
yeah.
some stuff.
Some
So,
things, some
some
things is
things.
happening.
Yeah. So, yeah.
All right.
Cool. Well, that was fun. Yeah, I guess until next time.
Yes, thank y'all so much for
Yeah.
tuning in and checking us out every other week and reading
Hmm.
along with us. And truly, I hope that you're finding some peace in this because I have been trying to disconnect and trying to reconnect with this thing
Yeah.
that I used to love, and actually, I'm realizing I need another book because I'll read my chapters, but I want to read more,
Yeah.
but I want to stay on course. So I'm like, I need a second book because I finished the other book that I was reading
Mm.
about the first slave or the.
Right. The
So I
last
finished,
like of the
yeah, not the
transatlantic
first,
slave
but
slave. Yeah.
hmm
Right. Yeah.
Barracoon. So I finished Barracoon and now I'm like, dang, should I read a book that I already have in my house? Should I go to the library? Every time I go
Mhm.
to the library, I want to get like five books because they
Mm.
have like my library isn't like they don't have just like a Black history section. They just have like these are Black authors and they are
Mm,
always there. And I'm like, oh, I love that. And I want to read this.
yeah, that's cool. Yeah.
So,
Nice. Well, yeah, let us know what you decide. Um, yeah, I have been reading a second book as well. I had just finished this book called A Fever in the Heartland, which was about the resurgence of the KKK and
oh,
how they tried to
wow.
take over. It was, yeah, it was. I would recommend just like looking it up. I don't know if my description right now will do it justice, but it was good. It was just a story of like how they tried to like take over America and they had like a strong foothold in like Indiana and the Midwest and um
It might
yeah,
feel a little too close to home right now for me. I don't
I
know.
feel that. Yeah, yeah.
I don't know.
Um but yeah, that one, was good. I mean it didn't work out. They tried and they had some successes, but in the end they were thwarted and that is good. So I finished that and then I started this book called Beauty Land, which is about this alien girl who comes to planet Earth and takes notes on the human experience. And I
Oh,
don't
that
really
sounds
know.
cool.
Yeah, yeah, I don't really know exactly where it's going to go, but so far it's been a good read, very chill, very easy to get through. Yeah, I don't know what I'm going to read next, but I did go to the bookstore. I went to like one of my favorite used bookstores in Albuquerque and I got two books by Alice Walker. I got a book by Gabor Mate, who is like this. Do you know Gabor Mate?
Mm-mm, no.
Okay. He's like I don't actually know what he does by profession. He's just a mental health, like, I don't know if he's a doctor or if he's a therapist, but he is like this mental health kind of like researcher and expert. And he's written a couple of books. And so I got that book. And then I got Uncle Tom's Cabin just
Oh, wow.
randomly. Like, yeah, I was just really curious. Like, I've been really curious about the book. And like, I've heard, obviously, everybody knows the phrase Uncle Tom. But I think there's like some misunderstanding between like how we use the term and who the character Uncle Tom actually was in the book. And I just was really curious about that. And I saw it. And so I just grabbed it because it was $5. Um, so yeah, yeah, I got some books. I'm excited about the Alice Walker ones. Those are the ones I'm most excited about. But yeah.
Yeah, I think I think I have some books here that I should look at.
Yeah.
So I don't know what I'm gonna read. I'm not gonna like say that, but I
Mm.
would love to ask for those of you who are following along, who are listening, what should we read next? Because we have two more
Ooh, yeah.
parts. And if anybody would like to suggest the next book, please drop it in the comments of whatever, wherever you're listening, or if you're commenting, or if you're listening on a podcast platform and you're not like trying to put the comment in a review, just DM us on Instagram, Black Girls
Yeah.
Boulder, also on Snapchat.
Yeah.
But Snapchat, just see the show notes for the Snapchat. But I don't know. I'm just curious. I am curious what y'all think we should read next.
Yeah,
Because
for
we usually
sure.
start thinking about that around this time. So,
Yeah, totally.
but yeah, this was
Yeah.
good. This was good. This was good. And I'm looking forward
Yeah.
to the next section. And yeah, thank y'all for tuning in.
Thanks for tuning in. Enjoy your week.
Yes, au
Take
revoir.
care.
Books and Boulders, an adventure podcast produced by First Outdoor Company for climbers, readers, and everyone in between. Subscribe now and join the BB Book Club.